Mac, welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
You know, I keep thinking about what our guest Robert Cahaly said to me. People who watch cable news are not the voters that we're going after. People who are attending Trump rallies or Harris rallies are not the voters that matter in this election, right? Most of these voters don't know anything about Kamala Harris. They live normal lives. They work hard. They're caring for them families. They're involved in activities, maybe working two jobs. And so while we mock this idea of her redefining herself and the media going all in for her, the reality is that for most voters, she's a clean slate.
Look, Sean, I think you're right. And it's so important when we talk about Kamala Harris to continue talking about her policies. This was always the Biden-Harris administration. So when we're thinking about everyday voters, we have to talk about the economy. We have to talk about immigration. And we need to nail Kamala Harris every single time because she has yet to address the American people. We are a handful of days away from early voting. I think some states are starting as early September, and we have yet to have her address the American people. And the truth is, Kamala Harris doesn't know who she is, but we do. She has
wait. Do you know she knows who she is, right? I mean, my point is, I think her view is, I'll be whoever you want me to be. I mean, she's a shapeshifter. She's a flip-flopper. She'll be who you want her to be as long as you give her power.
That's right. And that's why I say she doesn't know who she is. She's allowing the American people to dictate it. You want fracking today? I'm for fracking today. You want to close down the border? I'll be the best and biggest borders are. But the truth is, she's had 1,303 days in office to ensure that voters can put food on their table. She was the deciding vote in a $1.9 trillion spending bill. As we can't afford groceries and gas and diapers, Kamala Harris is spending money and her hands are in our pockets. We talk about this Biden tax. I call it the Kamala Harris tax. Every single time you're spending, ask yourself, were you better off 4 years ago? This is her policy. And the other thing is, she is the border czar. If she wanted to seal that border, she would. She has allowed, under her watch, nearly 100 illegal immigrants that are on a terror watch list. Sean, they're roaming the streets in America free under her watch because she has refused to allow the Remain in Mexico policy, which allowed illegals to remain in Mexico until we vetted them. This is Kamala Harris. She's dangerous. She's extremely liberal, and we cannot afford 4 more years of her administration.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Despite the fact that she's been in office for quite some time, she's getting this opportunity to, quote, reinvent herself. Think about it. We've got her time as vice president, as you just brought up. Right? That's 3.5 years, 1,300 days in office, all these policies. Her time as a U.S. senator, where she cast, I don't know how many hundreds, I guess, votes on a variety of issues. And then her time in California as both a DA and an attorney general. So it's not for lack. It's not like think about it. When Donald Trump ran, he was not a politician. He'd never run for office before. He'd never cast a vote. He had never signed a bill into law. And yet, he was attacked for everything. Here she is with this long record. And we're debating, I think, on our side about how to go after her when it seems to me a pretty obvious strategy.
Well, we have to start talking about her record. And she has a lengthy love affair, I like to call it, with criminals. When she was attorney general in California, she refused to invoke the death penalty against cop killers. She allowed for individuals that continued to break the law to roam free. She endorsed Mandela Barnes. Somebody should look that up. He was the most extreme Senate candidate in Wisconsin who wanted to release Wisconsin inmates.
Mandela Barnes, the lieutenant governor, is for defund the police. And now it seems like he's changing his tune now that it's a dead heat.
Yeah, he's really changing his tune. He used to say that letting prisoners out was sexy.
I mean, this is what we're going to get under Kamala Harris. We're going to get rapists, murderers, not only the illegal immigrants that are coming across our country, 11 million of them. We're going to also have a free for all in terms of criminals roaming our street. She has bailed out more criminals than I can count with her counterpart, Walz. Walz refused to make sure that there was funding as the George Floyd riots were going on. So these individuals were locked up for 10 seconds because Kamala Harris came in, started a fund that pushed these criminals back on the streets. We are not safe today. If you want safety and security for your kids and your families, you're not going to allow Kamala Harris to get away with this. She has a dangerous record from attorney general to senator to vice president. The fact that the American people aren't talking about this scares me, Sean. These are the dinner table conversations we need to have with our families. We're in a lot of trouble if she gets elected.
I agree. We are. And that's the thing. I harken back to what you just said before that final piece, which is we have to do this. And it's the thing that I don't think that we've ever had to really do to the extent that we need to now, right? It is up to us. If we don't have those conversations with our neighbors, our friends, and our coworkers, the media is not going to do it for us, right? I mean, that's the key. I feel like people keep thinking the cavalry is coming, and it's not.
No, Sean, we have to save ourselves. It is up to every single American. I don't care if you're red or you're blue today. I need you to start living in the green. And the green means what is in your bank account? Are you able to provide for your families? If you're not, you need to go back to President Trump's policies when we drill.
So I do this morning meeting with Mark Halpern every morning at 9:00, right? And yes, one of the people from Ohio challenged me the other morning, and he said, I used to be a Republican. January 6th was the hill that I couldn't climb anymore, okay? And he said to me, because I kept talking about the record and the policies, and he said, and this is what I want you to respond to. He said, I can't survive democracy being under attack, which is their line, but I could survive 4 years of Kamala Harris bad policies. We as a country can recover from that. And I said, I don't agree with that, obviously. How would you respond to that?
Look, I think if this gentleman in Ohio is talking about democracy, let's truly talk about it. President Trump was nearly assassinated. How many days has it been since we know the facts about the shooter, the dereliction of Secret Service? Let's move on to the countless cases against President Trump, his family, that have spanned the United States to take this man out of office, off of the ballot. Let voters decide. This is the lawfare that's happening under the Biden-Kamala Harris administration. And this individual should also know it's not just President Trump. It's each and every one of us that's being targeted. School board members that are speaking out at schools to protect their families are now being targeted by the FBI. We're not going to survive this. We're not going to have two pennies to rub together, let alone the lawfare that's going to happen against every single individual that speaks out against this administration. It's already happening. There's an undercurrent in the DOJ and the FBI that is corrupt. We're not surviving today. We're not going to survive the next couple years if we have a Harris administration.
Yeah, not to mention the fact, I mean, what I brought up to him as well is you want to talk about democracy, let's go toe to toe. You guys are a party that just sent operatives to New York to get Robert F. Kennedy kicked off the ballot. The essence of democracy is being able to vote. And you guys have spent the last 7-8 months kicking people off the ballot, changing the dates of primaries to put the fix in, pushing out the sitting incumbent president. And you want to have a conversation about democracy? All right, let's go. I think that, I mean, but let's get back to Harris for a second. You brought up the crime issue. I think the border issue is important. I think the economic issue is important. If you had to have a 30-second elevator pitch, you come across somebody who's been living in a cave in Ohio, and they say, Mehek, I just got out of the cave. I hear we pushed out Biden, and we replaced her with Kamala Harris. I know nothing about her. Why should I vote for Trump versus Harris? You have 30 seconds. Go.
We must vote for President Trump because we had 4 years of peace and prosperity. We had safety. Today, we have over 11 million illegal immigrants crossing our country, and every state is a border state. Women are being raped and murdered under Harris's administration. She was the border czar. She has continued to show a dereliction of duty. And then let's just talk about affordability. We cannot afford Kamala Harris anymore. If you want to feed your family of 4, if you want to go on that vacation, if you want to succeed in life and live that American dream, you're going to allow for capitalism and not for socialism, because that's what Kamala Harris stands for.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.